everyone, I'm Jennifer Zarate with CRN TV, and welcome to the channel Cooking at Home, where we mix business with pleasure, sharing homemade recipes while also covering hot channel topics. And here with me today is PulseSecure CEO Sudhakar Ramakrishna. Thank you for joining me, Sudhakar.
Thank you for having me.
It's a pleasure to have you on. So what recipe will you be sharing with us today?
This is something that I try to make for my family almost every Sunday around like a brunch. So we have omelets, and I'll go into what goes into the omelet, and peanut butter and jelly sandwiches to essentially make it a break. Everybody sleeps in on the Sundays, and so we combine these two things and it becomes the brunch for Sundays for us.
Who doesn't love Sunday brunch, am I right?
Absolutely, absolutely.
So
and you can't go out these days, so you might as well try to do something at home.
That is very true too. So what ingredients do we need?
What do we need? I like to keep it simple because this is for the entire family, 2 boys, my wife, myself. So bunch of eggs first that I break, some onions, and we like to give it a little bit of a kick with some ginger. And I add a little bit of Indian curry powder into this, just a dash of salt, and I whip it all together into one full thing in a bigger vessel. Then that's my ingredient to make omelets.
Now, what are the first few steps?
In the vessel where I kind of broke all the eggs and have my eggs ready, I'm mixing the onions that I chopped. Then I am adding all the ginger that I minced. I told you about my secret Indian curry powder, so I add that next. Not too much because not everyone likes it spicy, but somewhat flavorful to add to the flavor. So add that, set it aside, take a little bit of salt, very little, and then add to that. And it's now ready for mixing with this. So I just mix it up like this. Speed it up a bit so that I've noticed that the longer I mix it like this, the fluffier the omelets are. So I keep experimenting with that too.
You know, that's the first time I've seen eggs for an omelet being with a hand mixer. Definitely makes it a lot easier.
Like I said, at one level, these are simple omelets, but another level, you have fun mixing it all up and trying new things every single time. So there is a little bit of innovation and experimentation that goes on with all of these, just like in our workplaces.
Let's switch gears. What can you tell us about PulseSecure's latest research around working from home?
In terms of the research, what we have found is that a lot of customers were unprepared to have things be working from home because they quite simply assumed that at any point in time, maybe about 30% of their workforce will work from home. Now, pretty much 100% of their employees have to work from home out of need. So they had to prepare themselves from a technology standpoint to essentially get from about 30% to close to 100%, but many of them are at least at 75% work from home today. And they're preparing their technology assets, policies, practices, compliance, all of those to be able to do that. The other piece of it is that more and more, because we are now a distributed workforce, security is becoming an increasingly important thing. It's one thing to let you work from home, but it's another thing to ensure that security is still very, very prevalent and supported. So at least 70% of the people that we talk to say that is a top of mind concern. And more than 60% of employers that we talk to, or enterprises, say that they have to find a way of evolving to the cloud, but do so in a hybrid fashion, meaning it's not cloud or their data center, that they have to be able to adapt and adopt both.
And what are your channel partners seeing? What are you hearing from them directly?
They are saying that the demand for our products has gone through the roof, quite simply because customers had to be turned up and turned on with these capabilities in a very rapid fire fashion. So that we are a channel driven and channel led company. Almost 100% of our business runs through the channel. So many of our channel partners on one hand have been very appreciative of the support we have given them, because it's a two-way street, but also they have had to experience a deluge of volume from customers coming into them because of our technologies and our solutions.
Now back to these omelets, what comes next?
So I heat up the pan, and then I tend to use butter quite liberally on this as my base. And so I kind of spread it out, make sure that it is at a reasonable temperature. And when I say reasonable temperature, that is mostly by kind of a look and feel type thing, meaning that it needs to be simmering a bit, and I could tell that it is actually warm so that the omelet will cook. Then I will take some of this and pour it straight into it. And this is about the time where I might lower the temperature a little bit to let this thing cook a little bit. And I said I am not an expert at flipping it, so I'm not even going to try it. But I can see it turning golden yellow. I'll probably give it 30 seconds, flip it over, and in another 30-45 seconds, it's ready to eat.
So what advice do you have for channel partners as far as what solutions they should be focusing on?
Ultimately, our job is to help customers make right choices and not force a specific solution on them. So it's important that channel partners give customers a full visibility into how to think about the world in hybrid terms, which could involve their data centers, which could involve cloud, which could involve a variety of applications that customers may care about. So that's the first thing I would suggest that they talk to them about. Two is channel partners should look at not only the current needs of the customers, but how are they evolving and adapting to the world. Coming back to the research, while a lot of the work from home has happened due to the pandemic, we have done quite a bit of research asking customers what do they plan to do after everything gets to some form of normalcy. And work from home is going to stay. The freedom of working from anywhere is going to stay. So channel partners will have to appreciate that and help customers along that journey to help them understand how do they enable productivity from anywhere, number one. How do they ensure that it stays secure, number two. How is it economical, number three. And what are the options to consider from a business model and a vendor selection perspective. In terms of vendor selection, they should be looking at vendors who are willing to collaborate with others and integrate in their environments, because there's no such thing as one size fits all.
Could you give us some examples of the types of solutions?
So there's a few solutions that keep coming up on a repeated theme. First is, as we have been chatting, workforce productivity, but doing so simply. So in some countries, it's called work style innovation. For instance, in some countries, the government is actually subsidizing enterprises to enable people to work from home. So in turn, they're working with their channel partners to adopt the right solutions to enable work from home. That's number one. Number two is the adoption of hybrid IT in terms of not only data center infrastructure, but also applications. That's a key trend that's ongoing. So I think channel partners will have to continue to support that trend. Number three, what we notice is increased focus on compliance and visibility. So when you have such a distributed workforce, ensuring the compliance of the organization remains intact, ensuring that the CIOs and CISOs know what is happening in their environment, whether it be with devices, people like us, applications, behaviors, security threats. That's another key thing that's increasingly prevalent. Number 4, I would say, is as applications are being delivered from all over the place, be it cloud or as SaaS or in the data center, they are becoming smaller and smaller, meaning they're becoming microservices. So application impact is greater, but they are being distributed. So application delivery, application security is also a very important trend that partners and others should think about how they serve the needs of the customers. And last but not least, in these times, customers are always looking at how do I consolidate my assets? How do I consolidate my infrastructure? How do I leverage my data center better? So I would say data center and cloud consolidation is the other trend that we need to be cognizant of. So those 5 areas are where we see quite a bit of demand for solutions.
So as we're wrapping up here, what do you pair with the omelet?
Pairing with the omelet, I will toast some bread and spread peanut butter, and depending on the choice, maybe jelly on top of that as well. And depending on the day, apple juice or orange juice. That's the pairing.
A hearty breakfast, it sounds like.
Yes, it'll keep you going for the rest of the day. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.